Hello there, I'm Kane. Tonight, I'd like to share with you the story of my 7 days of fasting and meditation, a journey that has given me many valuable experiences. And in this very moment, I invite you to set aside everything that has happened during the day. Take a deep breath and allow your mind to rest. Relax every muscle from the top of your head to your toes. As you close your eyes, let me guide you into a tranquil space where there is only the gentle whisper of the wind, the soft murmur of the stream, and the fresh scent of the earth. I will lead you on a special journey deep within the wild mountains, where I found peace, a love for life, and inner strength through a unique challenge. The cool mountain air, carrying the scent of damp earth, a faint aroma of pine, and the elusive fragrance of flowers I'd never encountered anywhere else, embraced me the moment my first step touched the moss-covered trail. A gentle breeze swept through, bringing not just fresh air, but a clean, pure sensation, like a whispered greeting from the vast wilderness, washing away some of the city's dust and fatigue. This was it, the place where I would stay for the next 7 days, alone amidst raw nature, with only myself, the ceaseless murmur of the stream, and the mysterious rustle of leaves like ancient stories told by the old forest that had weathered countless seasons of wind and rain. In my worn backpack, I carried a tent and an impossibly minimalist set of personal items, just enough, with nothing superfluous. Most importantly, I carried an iron resolve to undertake a 7-day fast. It wasn't just a test of physical endurance, but also a journey of self-discovery, an intense desire to cleanse my body and find inner stillness, escaping the hurried pace of modern life. As a city dweller, accustomed to the incessant noise of car horns, endless chatter, and roaring machinery, the profound silence of the mountains initially disoriented me. It wasn't a dead silence, but a living stillness, a space where every tiny sound was amplified, making me feel like a stranger being observed. When the first rays of sunlight pierced through the leaves, gilding the treetops, the forest seemed to awaken from its long sleep. Birds chirped everywhere, not scattered calls, but a vibrant chorus, each species with its unique melody, welcoming a new day. The rhythmic tap of a woodpecker, the distant buzzing of insects, and the incessant flow of the stream created a lively symphony. I took a deep breath. The air was so cool and fresh that I felt every cell in my lungs being cleansed, cleaner than any air I'd ever breathed in the city. I found a suitable flat, elevated spot to pitch my tent, a short distance from the stream. The ceaseless gurgle of the water, like a gentle mountain melody, carried the damp scent of rocks and moss. I began to explore the small trails around me, each step cautious, my eyes constantly observing. I gazed at the ancient trees with their gnarled trunks, reaching powerfully towards the sky, their dense canopies interwoven to form a colossal green dome. Tiny forest flowers, growing humbly beneath the leaves, quietly displayed their subtle colors that I had never noticed before. The crystal clear, cool stream was my only source of life. Each sip of water felt like purity seeping into every cell, a feeling of inner cleansing, washing away accumulated fatigue and worries. In the afternoon, a sudden rain shower arrived. At first, just a few scattered drops. Then it quickly intensified, pouring down heavily on the canopy. The entire forest was enveloped in water, but it wasn't frightening. The patter of rain on the tent roof created a soothing sound, lulling me into a short nap inside. The scent of damp earth after the rain became even more potent, carrying the fresh, cool breath of the forest. The light softened, everything shrouded in an ethereal mist. A day had peacefully passed. Dusk began to fall as I found a suitable flat, elevated spot to pitch my tent, a short distance from the stream. I tried to dismiss the anxious thoughts about the first night, about being completely alone in the deep, dark forest. The chirping of insects began, at first feeling alien and stirring unease within me, then gradually becoming part of nature's symphony, slightly soothing my lurking fears and easing me into an unintentional meditative state. Strangely, unlike many who might struggle with hunger during the first days of fasting, I felt quite normal. Perhaps because I was already accustomed to eating one meal a day, the transition to complete fasting didn't cause a major shock to my body. Instead, it brought a mental lightness from no longer having to worry about meals. The first night in the forest, under a sky full of stars untouched by city light pollution, was both a magical and a tense experience. As night descended, the air grew thick, carrying a deeper scent of decaying wood and damp earth. The gentle gurgle of the stream became a comforting, rhythmic lullaby. But every small sound in the night, the rustle of dry leaves, perhaps the sound of a small, unidentified forest creature, the distant hoot of an owl, the creak of ancient trees swaying in the wind, or simply the snap of a dry branch, kept me on alert. Inside the tent, though zipped up tight, I still felt like a tiny, vulnerable speck in the heart of the wilderness, reliant on the flimsy canvas for protection. I fell asleep without knowing when, and though the sleep was not long, when dawn broke, the first rays of sunlight pierced through the leaves, gilding the treetops, and the forest seemed to awaken. A strange sense of relief and exhilaration washed over me. Day 2. I woke up to the sound of birdsong, no longer with the anxieties of the first night. Instead, there was a sense of eager exploration. Dawn blessed me with a sunny, warm day. The early rays pierced through the lush green leaves, creating sparkling golden streaks on the damp ground. The air was still cool, but carried a hint of early morning warmth, chasing away the night's chill. I spent time walking along the stream. I tried to center my mind, practicing mindfulness with each step. After a short distance, the sound of the water grew clearer and stronger, and I discovered a small waterfall hidden behind ancient, moss-covered rocks. The water cascaded down, forming white foam, its powerful sound not harsh, but rather conveying a vibrant sense of life. The scene was truly peaceful. I sat there for a long time, just watching the water cascade, listening to the sound of the waterfall, and feeling the tiny water droplets on my skin, bringing coolness. Without the distraction of food, my mind became clearer than ever. I felt a deep connection to nature, to life, a feeling I rarely experienced in my busy city life. Thoughts came and went, as light as white clouds drifting across the clear blue sky, unburdened, unattached. I didn't try to hold on to or push away any thoughts. Everything unfolded naturally, like breaths coming and going. I realized that when not distracted by the need for food, My body and mind had more space to rest and rejuvenate, a kind of internal reset of vital energy. Day 3. That day flowed gently, without any major disturbances. The feeling of hunger hadn't appeared distinctly, or perhaps my body had begun to adapt. My senses seemed to become many times sharper. I could hear more clearly the buzzing of bees around wildflowers, the rustle of dry leaves as a small squirrel scurried by, or even the faint sound of damp earth gently steaming under the sun, creating a mild, warm haze. The scents of the forest were also richer. I could clearly distinguish them. The pungent pine resin from scratches on tree trunks, the fresh, tender scent of new grass, the damp, decaying wood mixed with a hint of mineral from the rocks, and the pure fragrance of tiny forest flowers hidden among the leaves. The light in the forest also changed constantly, from dazzling midday sunbeams to golden streaks as dusk approached. In the afternoon, I sat on a high piece of land where I could overlook a vast, lush green valley stretching to the horizon. As twilight descended, a magnificent spectacle unfolded before my eyes. The last rays of sun colored the entire sky red, then slowly shifted to brilliant orange, ethereal purple, and finally deep blue before night fully enveloped everything. Thousands of stars began to twinkle, each a tiny but incredibly clear point of light, forming an illusory Milky Way I had never seen in the city, where bright lights obscured the beauty of the universe. I lay outside my tent, gazing at the night sky, feeling small yet an inseparable part of this vast cosmos. The chirping of crickets, the distant croaking of frogs, and occasionally the sound of some far-off animal created a symphony of the night, entirely different from the daytime noise, but utterly enchanting. The first 3 days of my fasting journey brought me profound peace and a new perspective on the world around me, on the extraordinary adaptability of body and mind, and I meditated with high concentration until the end of the day. Day 4. Dawn brought a noticeable change, no longer the absolute peace of the previous days. As the sun began to climb above the mountaintops, gilding the patches of dew still clinging to the leaves, I felt a distinct decline in energy. The gentle, light smile of the first days gave way to a slight clumsiness in every movement. Then hunger began to appear. At first, it was just a mild, empty feeling in my stomach, but it quickly transformed into violent, gnawing cramps, as if tearing at my insides. My stomach rumbled incessantly, not just an audible sound, but a distinct physical sensation, a constant reminder of the deprivation. Each step on the familiar trail required greater effort, as if gravity had doubled. Vivid images of food began to appear in my mind. A steaming hot bowl of soup, the authentic aroma of grilled meat assailing my nostrils, the sweet taste of ripe fruit melting on my tongue. I struggled with these fantasies, telling myself that this was part of the cleansing process, that my body was healing itself and eliminating toxins. I drank a lot of stream water in large gulps, trying to fill my empty stomach, but it was only a temporary solution. The hunger persisted. In the afternoon, a sudden heavy rain poured down. The rain lashed against the tent roof. Thunder rumbled in the distance, making the already desolate space even more solitary. I curled up inside my tent, feeling the weakness of my body. Hunger and fatigue attacked simultaneously, making me sometimes want to give up, to flee this forest and find anything edible, anything to end this suffering. But I told myself, I'm halfway there. I can't stop now. This is my challenge. From sensing the night's symphony, I had to wrestle with my body that night, but then I also drifted off to sleep without knowing when. The 5th day was truly a fierce battle. When I woke up, my body was utterly exhausted. The hunger was more intense than ever, not just a gnawing feeling, but a pervasive discomfort throughout my body, making my head spin and my limbs tremble. I no longer had the strength to walk and explore. I just wanted to rest. Most of the time, I focused on meditating, and when tired, I curled up in my tent, occasionally going out to drink stream water. Each time I drank, I felt its coldness permeate every cell, bringing a bit of vitality and hope for healing. My mind, though not overly chaotic, found thoughts of food more persistent, more insidious. I missed home. I missed warm family meals. I even missed simple daily snacks. I began to wonder if I was doing the right thing, if torturing my body like this would truly bring any benefit. Doubt crept in. But then I encouraged myself again. I had come here to seek something deeper, a purification not only physical, but also spiritual. I took deep breaths, trying to focus on my breath, on the sound of the flowing stream, on the sounds and scents of the forest to ward off negative thoughts and the tormenting hunger. Occasionally, I would close my eyes and meditate, but still found myself imagining eating the most sumptuous meal, with every flavor and texture appearing clearly in my mind. Concentrating on meditation was how I overcame the physical hunger, but sometimes the taste of food still appeared in my head. I let everything happen naturally, by allowing my mind to experience what my body was lacking. But that was when I was weak. Because when my mind was deeply focused, the images and sounds of the past and future would not appear in my head. As night fell, the space became thick with stillness, the chirping of night insects like distant whispers, the rustle of leaves in the gentle breeze creating ethereal sounds. Under the faint moonlight piercing through the leaves, I felt the solitude seem even more pronounced, a raw confrontation with myself. It was a silent battle, a direct confrontation with my most primal survival instincts, a test of the limits of my willpower. After 5 challenging days of struggle, the dawn of the 6th day arrived like a ray of sunshine dispelling the clouds. A miraculous change began to unfold within my body, a transformation I could clearly feel. The hunger no longer tormented me as fiercely as before. Instead, it was a lighter, pleasant emptiness. It was as if my body had fully accepted the state of fasting and had begun to switch to self-sustaining mode, automatically drawing energy from internal reserves. Though energy wasn't as abundant as usual, there was no longer the feeling of being utterly exhausted, spent like yesterday. This was a sign of self-healing, of the detoxification process working powerfully. The most astonishing thing was my mind. At this moment, I truly felt the freedom and healing I had longed for, a sublime mental state I had never experienced. First, there was a strange exhilaration, like a positive electrical current running through my entire body. Every cell in my body seemed to know that it would soon be fed, that energy would return, and they eagerly awaited it. It wasn't the eagerness of desperate hunger, but the eagerness of life, of regeneration, a pure joy as the body overcame its limits and found its inner strength. Following that was a true zest for life, a gentle, deep happiness seeping into every corner of my soul. I needed nothing more. I simply needed to live, to exist in this space, to listen to the birds chirping sweetly in the green canopy, each chirp like a pure note in nature's symphony. I could see the golden sunlight piercing through the leaves, painting dances of light on the ground, each streak of light moving with every gentle breeze. I could feel the cool wind caressing my skin, carrying the scent of wild grass and lingering night dew. The simplest things that I used to overlook in the rush of life suddenly became incredibly precious and sacred, carrying unexpectedly profound meaning. Truly, that feeling completely changed me. It was as if a healing point had been activated within, a source of energy released from deep within, bringing absolute peace. At this point, I began to understand my body better, its powerful, miraculous survival instinct. Every cell longed to live, to be joyful, like the collective ego of the body. They didn't need food. They didn't need material possessions to feel the joy of existence. When no longer controlled by material needs, my mind became clearer than ever, no longer preoccupied with daily worries and calculations. I felt a deeper connection to myself, to the universe, a complete integration into the flow of nature, as an inseparable part of this magnificent painting. It was at this level that I truly understood what true letting go meant, something I had only understood superficially before. People usually let go by running away from pain, or by using their conscious mind to suppress emotions, causing negative effects to temporarily disappear, only for them to remain deeply embedded in their subconscious, waiting for a chance to resurface. But this fasting experience taught me a different lesson. When the body was at its weakest, when all senses were purified and sharpened, I no longer had the strength or will to suppress anything. Every emotion, every thought, whether positive or negative, appeared clearly, nakedly, and I was forced to confront them without resistance. Hunger, fatigue, fear, loneliness, all were accepted without judgment, without resistance, without labeling. And it was precisely in that moment of complete acceptance that I realized those negative emotions gradually dissipated, no longer clinging to me like clouds dissolving in the wind, leaving behind a clear blue sky. This wasn't a letting go by reason, by deliberate will, but a letting go from the depths of my body and soul. It was a release from the mental burdens I had unconsciously carried for so long. I felt an extraordinary lightness, as if a large stone had been lifted from my chest. My mind was clear, unburdened, and a deep sense of peace permeated my entire being. I realized that true letting go is not about denying or running away, but about accepting a complete what is happening, both positive and negative. When we accept, we allow ourselves to be freed from the shackles of the past and the anxieties of the future. Day 7. The last day in the forest. I woke up with a completely new feeling, strangely full of vitality, even though I hadn't eaten for 6 days. The hunger had completely disappeared. Instead, there was an indescribable lightness and clarity. My body felt light, agile, as if it had been completely regenerated. I took a final walk around the campsite, feeling my every step firm on the ground, every breath steady and deep, as a testament to my inner strength. My mind was now a vast, tranquil space. All my senses were many times sharper, no longer distracted by material needs. I could hear more clearly the wind weaving through the leaves, creating distinct melodies, from the rustle of tall trees to the whisper of low bushes. The scent of damp earth and vegetation after the night mist became strikingly clear and captivating. I saw the subtle nuances in the green of the mountains, from the fresh green of newly sprouted shoots to the deep green of ancient 100-year-old trees, each shade telling its own story. I felt like I was living every moment fully, missing nothing, with no filter between me and the natural world. As I packed up my belongings to return, I looked back at the forest, at the stream that had been my constant companion for a week, like silent but profound friends. I silently thanked nature for giving me such a wonderful space to undertake this fasting journey, to heal, to find myself again. This was not just a physical challenge, but a deep spiritual journey, a return to my most primal self, to the truth of who I am. I returned to my daily life in the city, but I was no longer the same person. I carried within me inner peace, a deeper understanding of my body and mind, along with boundless gratitude for the lessons nature had bestowed. I learned to listen to my body more subtly, recognizing the smallest signals from within. I learned to accept and let go of unnecessary burdens, anxieties, and fears, and most importantly, I had found true freedom in my soul, a freedom not dependent on food or external material desires. From now on, I know that I can face every challenge in life with a calmer and stronger mindset. Life will still have difficulties, still have pressures, but I have been equipped with an invaluable tool, self-understanding, and the ability to heal from deep within. Now, as you listen to this story, let the images of the mountains, of peace, and of inner strength sink into your mind. Close your eyes and feel your own steady breath. Feel the lightness spreading throughout your body. Let the sounds of the forest and stream lull you into a deep and peaceful sleep.